as we pretty quickly find our way to the lagoon of Venice after passing through the Veneto, another picturesque region, passing through Verona and Padua. Vicenza and Treviso are some of the main towns of the Veneto, but the crowning jewel of the entire region, of course, is Venezia, the beautiful watery city of Venice, where we'll be spending the next several days. Unloading our bags just as we loaded them onto the train and finding some baggage carts, loading them on there and pushing the carts through the station. It's a short walk, just about 100 yards to get from the train to the Grand Canal right in front of the train station. And here's our baggage porter. They provide very convenient baggage service that will take your bags right from the train station to the hotel in this baggage boat you see here. And meanwhile, we ride on the Vaporetto that you see in the background, the water bus of Venice. You can take your suitcases on the Vaporetto, but it can get a little crowded and a little bit inconvenient, and particularly when you're in a group of 35 people the way we are. So we just have our bags taken for us to the hotel. Baggage porterage is one reason that many tour bus groups that tour Europe don't actually stay in Venice overnight in a hotel. They very often will stay at a hotel that's outside of Venice and just bring their group into Venice for the day and then bring them back to the hotel because they don't want to pay for baggage porterage service from the bus to the boat, from the boat to the hotel, up into the hotel room, and so on back out of Venice. But with our group, we always make it a point to stay right in the town of Venice itself. You see here the train station in the background as we ride on the Vaporetto right down the middle of the Grand Canal into the heart of town. Venice is so beautiful that you don't want to stay there just for a day visit and spend the night outside of town. It's much, much better to stay at a hotel that's located in Venice itself. That way you can enjoy the evenings, as you'll be seeing in the program coming up, and the early morning hours. We spend 2 nights in Venice on our tour, passing one of the typical palaces, and we get off the Vaporetto at Ca d'Oro in this case. Our hotel is the Giorgione Hotel. Taking pictures right away, taking pictures of everything you see in Venice because everything looks so beautiful. Even these little alleyways have their own certain charm. And particularly the picture from the top of the Rialto Bridge looking down the Grand Canal in the center of town is one of the most spectacular sights that you'll see any place in Europe. We're in the commercial center of the city here at the Rialto, and our hotel is just a few blocks away from the Rialto Bridge. And here we have some South American music. There's all kinds of international atmosphere in the city of Venice. But especially, of course, it's the unique Venetian atmosphere, which is best expressed on a gondola. You've got to take a gondola ride when you go to Venice, and in particular, if you can, take a gondola ride at sunset time with a singing gondolier. We always get together and do this with our Hawaii Geographic Society tours. We'll rent maybe 5 gondolas and share in the costs, and when you do it that way, it's a lot more economical. If you have, say, 25 people sharing in the cost, it only comes to about $20 each, and the ride goes for about 45 or 50 minutes. And it's one of the most blissful experiences of a lifetime. Especially on a beautiful evening like this, the temperature is just right, the lighting is golden and perfect, and we're about to have a wonderful ride. You can rent a gondola with just a couple, and in that case it'll cost you about $80 for a 45-minute ride, and if you want musicians with you, that's another $120. So it could get into some serious money, maybe $200 for your own private gondola ride with musicians. But when you do it with a group, it's a lot of fun. You can share the experience with your friends and share in the costs. And you're going to enjoy a truly great show. There's about half a dozen places where you can rent the gondolas. There's gondola stations at San Marco Piazza on the front of the piazza and also behind the piazza. And there's a gondola station by the train station. And in particular, I'd like to recommend the gondola station by the Cadoro. This is where we get our gondolas generally. And the typical gondola route then takes you into the narrower and more interesting side canals as we leave the Grand Canal and the Rialto behind and go for maybe another 40 minutes through these little winding and characteristic and historic back canals of the city. One of the sites that we go past is the home of Marco Polo, one of the most famous explorers in the world, who was born and lived in Venice for much of his lifetime. You'll find that time glides along a little faster than normal when you're enjoying the beautiful serenity of this gondola experience. But the 1 hour ride is actually long enough. It gives you that feeling, it gives you that new insight into the city, to the backstage of Venice. Instead of just seeing Venice from the Grand Canal and the footbridges and the sidewalks and the pedestrian streets, we've seen the real arteries of the city, the real heart of town, and thoroughly enjoyed ourselves.
It's very soothing.
Yes. On my way?
Going my way? Can I park here?
If at all possible, take your gondola ride at sunset, as we've done here in the program, because with the golden light of twilight, the brick colors of the buildings really stand out in a very rich and warm manner that can only be fully appreciated at sunset. You can take the gondola ride in the daytime, certainly. It's a nice way to take a break and sit down, and it's a little cooler on the gondola than walking around on the sidewalks. Not bad. Or you can do it at night, but it's kind of dark at night and you can't see much. So if possible, do it right at twilight.
Oh, solo mio.
Oh, sole mio, stai pronta te.
I'm from Hawaii.
Che stasera manimo, cuenta col te.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
I want to go back around again.
Well, you've got tomorrow night. Ciao, grazie.
Well, you can see how much our Hawaii Geographic Society tour bunch enjoyed that experience. And what more perfect way to top off the day than sit down at an outdoor restaurant in Venice and enjoy a fabulous and extravagant dinner. We're at Fiasceteria Toscana, which is one of the nicer restaurants in the city. And now you're about to see our splendid waiter, Roberto, prepare a wine service like you've never seen before. Roberto is the master of decanting the wine and swirling it around in your glass to aerate it properly for you and present it in such a way that the flavor is doubly enhanced. You'll notice that he sniffs the cork for you, checking the wine to make sure that it's okay. And then he proceeds to pour it into a beautiful decanter. This is an unusual flat-bottomed decanter that allows the wine to spread out as it pours down and cover the surface of the decanter in this even flowing pour. And this aerates the wine and speeds up the breathing process. You know, when you open a good bottle of wine, it's best to let it sit generally for at least an hour. Roberto says 1 hour for every year. And you want this wine to breathe and aerate, and it will taste better and fresher when it does so. And you can see when it's poured into such a humongous flask like this, with such skill, that it's going to speed up that process so you don't have to sit there for an hour and watch the bottle before you drink it, because that'll never happen in a restaurant. And then you can just go ahead and enjoy it. Notice how he sloshes the wine around in the glass even to get more air into the wine and help it to breathe that much faster.
Thank you.
What a presentation.
We describe how you did this.
We're having a bottle of Chianti Classico 1988 Serlapo. It was very good.
It's okay to answer. Thank you.
Perfect. Very good.
Mrs. Joe.
Mille grazie.
2000 prego.
And what's the name of the restaurant?
Fiaschetteria Toscana. is
And
the name.
what's your name?
My name is Roberto.
Roberto. Oh, fantastico.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Dennis.
Thank you,
indeed.
Roberto.